banks and other cooperative institutions, the payment limit is 40,000. If a bank is making payment of more than 40,000 in a year, they have to do TDS at the rate of 10%. I take your humble permission to introduce my another colleague, Mr. Krishna Kumar, Deputy Commissioner of Income Tax, who has just joined. He was in one emergency duty. He has come directly from there. Welcome, sir. Next, section 194H. This is commission. So anybody who is paying commission or brokerage charges, they have to do TDS. If the individual and HF having business turnover of more than 1 crore and profession it is more than 50 lakhs. Interest, TDS rate is 5%, and the basic limit is above 15,000 per annum. This is not month, per annum. So any payment above 15,000 in the form of brokerage or commission, TDS has to be deducted. The new sections now, I will focus more on these sections. So the banking institutions, in order to promote the digital economy, especially after demonetization, the government has brought one new section called 194N, where if a bank or any institution which is making, which is giving cash by way of withdrawal or payment above 1 crore, in the case of filers, above 1 crore in the case of filers, the TDS has to be done at the rate of 2%. Whereas non-filers here means any of the last 3 financial years, if the person who is withdrawing cash has not filed return, he becomes a non-filer, and in that case, limit is 20 lakhs. If he withdraws more than 20 lakhs, TDS has to be done at the rate of 5%, at the rate of 2%, and if the amount of withdrawal is more than 1 crore, the TDS has to be done at the rate of 5%. So this is very important for banking institutions. You have to check whether the person who is withdrawing the cash is a filer or non-filer. Especially in the upcoming session, election season, there will be a lot of withdrawals from the banks in the name of different people, because we have seen that the people who are contesting, they will not withdraw from their accounts, but from other accounts, they withdraw in batches. And they withdraw in batches, and that amount, if it exceeds more than 20 lakhs, all those people will be mostly non-filers in your criteria, because they might not have filed return in any of the 3 years. And if they are filers, more than 1 crore. So this upcoming season, during elections, these things will happen more, because the cash will come from the banks. Cash will not directly be withdrawn from the entities who are, but other people. So all the banking institutions have to cautiously watch over this. Otherwise, there is a penalty and fee and penalty and prosecution also, which will be a liability for the banks, not to the taxpayer who has withdrawn. Next, section 194, as sir told, on purchase of goods more than 50 lakhs in a financial year, and it is applicable to people, business or individual HF who is having more than 10 crores turnover in a year, financial year. If the entity is having more than 10 crores turnover or sales or gross receipts, and if this entity is purchasing some goods above exceeding value of 50 lakhs, they have to do TDS at the rate of 0.1%, exceeding 50 lakhs, and for non-PAN cases it is 5%. So this section is also very important in the case of all the entities, because most of you are having more than 10 crores receipts in a year. Next is business promotion expenses. So this is not like what we combine in salaries, perquisites. This is different. Suppose business promotion in the form of one business entity X is doing business with B, Y, and X is giving some facilities to promote the business of Y, and that is in the form of kind or cash, maybe in the form of extending hotel, extending tourist packages, extending some other gifts, through which it is promoting its business. X is promoting business of X by way of Y giving some perquisites. These perquisites, if they are more than 20, if it is more than 20,000 in a year, that has to be taxed at the rate of, it should be taxed at the rate of, sorry, here I didn't mention, it is at the rate of 10%. So all these business perquisites has to be, business promotion expenses, any entity which is using another entity or another any kind of entity, they are doing these things to promote their business. Suppose one entity sponsors one event by another entity and gives some amount on that sponsoring. By way of that sponsorship, it is promoting its business. So on this amount, whatever be the expense, that has to be, it is liable for TDS. It has to be done through TDS because the amount will definitely exceed more than 20,000, and that has to be, TDS has to be done in that case. So this is very important provision which has come into effect from the 1st July 2022. So it is applicable for all the entities. Next, taxation of virtual digital assets. So nowadays, digital assets have become prominent and they are part and parcel of our personal and professional lives. So here, I have made a one PPT. So this PPT has some value. It may be useful for somebody else, and if it gets some monetary value, I will give that PPT to that person on that monetary value. Suppose I'm just taking one example. It has some value, and that value, if I am selling it to somebody, I have to do TDS on behalf of that value. So this is digital asset because digital assets are defined under section 247 of under section 247A of Income Tax Act, and it is introduced from the Finance Bill 2022. And I will give the examples of digital assets. Photos, documents, video books, audio, music. Music, like some popular singer is singing some music, creating some album, that has a value. So if it is given to somebody to use, on that she is getting some amount, on that amount they have to do TDS. That is a digital asset which is liable for TDS. And the famous is non-fungible tokens, NFTs, like cryptocurrency and other crypto assets like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, all these new kinds, all the virtual form of currencies have come, which is identifiable, which is discoverable, but it is not visible. But it has its own value. And on that value, it is being traded. It is traded between the entities. During this trade, whenever it gets exchanged, on that value, there has to be TDS. TDS has to be done at the rate of 1% on purchase consideration. And the basic limit is 50,000. If the consideration of that digital asset is more than 50,000, TDS has to be done at the rate of 1%, and the same exceptions like 1 crore in the case of business and 50 lakhs in the case of profession. So this also has come into effect from 1st July 2022. And digital assets, there are many digital assets. So everything that is there in the blockchain form, in the digital form, that is digital assets, when it is having value, when it is traded. So digital 194S is very important from this year. So these are the few. There is a 194O also in the case of e-commerce entities. There are a lot of e-commerce entities have come nowadays. Amazon, Flipkart, Meesho, Dunzo, a lot of e-commerce entities. So all these entities, when they are making payment to the seller, if it is more than above 5 lakhs, they have to do TDS of 1% or 2% as applicable in the case of individual and business entities. So that is also there, 194O. So TCS, tax collection at source, it is applicable on the purchase, sale and purchase of goods. So it is like, unlike TDS, it is also same, but I will give you the list of case goods which are covered under TCS. So on scrap, any scrap which is sold, any scrap which is sold on that 1% TDS, tender leaves 5%, timber obtained under forest lease and other mode, timber from forest lease, that is 2.5%, and any other forest producer not being timber, tender leaves 2.5%, and parking lot, toll plaza, mining quarry, all these things mixed, right? At the rate of 2%, minerals being coal and lignite, that is at the rate of 1%, and sale of motor vehicles, very important. If you are selling some motor vehicle, if it exceeds more than 10 lakhs, 1% TCS has to be done. And TCS and selling overseas tour package, especially nowadays, very tour packers, tour event managers have come. And on that, any payment, if it is more than 5 lakh, more than certain specified limit, 5% TDS has to be done. So Now I will go, these are the important provisions with regard to TDS and TCS. So these are the major provisions which are applicable for the deductors which we have got here. So we have covered on those aspects. And now I will go into common mistakes by deductors and its management. So in the process of TDS, I'll just give 1 minute time on the process of TDS. You all know that when we make payment, we are making payment for certain entities as per the provisions which I enlightened earlier. So when we are making payment, we are deducting TDS, and after deduction or liability, next responsibility is to remit it to the government account by next month, 7th of next month. And in April, it will be a little relaxation.